Welcome to November part 2. I guess that's what we're going to be calling this, where I have a week until the end of the month and I need to finish 4 more books. Let's put them upside down so you can read them really well. These 4 books, I have made some progress on some of those books, which we will talk about. But I do kind of need to get a move on. It's definitely a doable goal, but I am going to be gone for a few days. I'm going to take one of the books with me. But tomorrow I am headed to New Mexico to visit some family, spend some time with them for Thanksgiving, eat lots of turkey. It's going to be great. But I thought it was a great idea, probably because the tickets were cheaper, to get a super early flight. So my Uber picks me up at 4:30 a.m. tomorrow. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. Let's talk about the books that I have read. So I finished one and I am about halfway-ish through this one. But first let's talk about Under the Whispering Door by T.J. Klune. So I read House in the Cerulean Sea by the same author a year or two ago. Very much enjoyed it. I think I gave it 4 stars. It was cozy, it was magical, it was light. It was very much what I was looking for at the time. And I had a wildly different experience with this book. So I very much wanted to DNF this throughout, and I fought not to, and I did end up finish reading it purely because it's almost the end of the year and I want to hit a certain number of books read and every book counts, and that's not a great reason to keep reading a book. I know that. I know it's not good, but that's what I did. And I kept thinking as well, maybe it'll just get better because I liked his last book so much. We follow our main character whose name is Wallace. He is a lawyer, very cold, very calculating, worried about the bottom line. He's very good as a lawyer. He kind of goes around suing people all day. And in like the 2nd chapter, he has a heart attack and he dies. He's soon visited by a Reaper whose purpose is to help him eventually cross over into whatever comes next. And she takes him to a tea house where a ferryman resides, as well as a few other characters. And they kind of start the process of him accepting his death, coming to terms with it, and being able to move on and cross over. This book is really clear in what it wants you to feel. It tries, I gotta give props to the author because he tries really hard for it to be heartwarming and comforting and warm, and so clearly wants to make the characters witty and likable, but instead of naturally allowing that to occur, it feels like their personalities and their interactions and the quipping back and forth and the super fluffy, I don't know what other word to use except for fluffy, the super emotional, right off the bat, kind of Pinterest boardy, live, laugh, love quotes almost, stuff like that. It kind of feels like being hit over the head with a hammer instead of, like I said, just kind of naturally allowing the characters to be likable. It feels very forced, very overt. There's romance and humor in it. I didn't enjoy or believe in either of them. There were 1 or 2 passages that kind of made me chuckle, but that was it. It's just, I didn't get the humor. I didn't like it. I didn't care about the romance either. It wasn't believable to me. I had several other issues with the book. The main character, Wallace, is a terrible person through so many years of his life. But through 2 weeks in this tea shop, he becomes the most self-sacrificing and selfless and super emotional and romantic character ever. And it's why, you lived this terrible person for years, and suddenly it's just that. He's a changed man. And there was no world building. I didn't have at all a clear idea of what this afterlife looked like physically. We get this tea shop, and that's pretty much it. We don't venture out beyond that at all. And it's such a cool opportunity to be creative because you have this unique situation where you're dealing with supernatural creatures and characters like ferrymen and reapers. And you're dealing with this place in between life and death where I felt like the author could have fleshed it out so much and done so much unique, and it was just kind of left blank. But probably the biggest issue or the thing that I personally didn't care for in this book. Other people love this book. This has really good ratings on Goodreads. So other people love this. I just did not. It is like, how many pages is it? Like 300? It's like 370 pages talking about feelings. And I love character depth and introspection and emotion and like focus on internal struggles. But this was way too much. It was so much talking about feelings and letting go and coming to terms with things. And we were told it in such kind of trite and cliche ways where there was nothing new to it. And then the end kind of comes and undoes any sort of lesson that the book has spent 370 pages building towards. Like, you need to come to terms with your life. You're dead. Come to terms with it. Come to terms with the mistakes you made when you were alive, and you need to let go. You need to learn to let go. That's what this whole book is about. And then the very end, it's like, well, except for our main character, the rules don't apply to him. Like, he's special somehow. It's just like, well, what was I don't get what the point of this book was. I did not like this at all. I think I gave this 2 stars. I really probably should have DNF'd this, honestly, just because sometimes it's not fair to the book if you're like, clearly this isn't for me, but you force yourself to continue reading. So yeah, I think this has like over 4 stars on Goodreads. So obviously a ton of people out there loved it. I just did not. On the other hand, a book I am enjoying quite a bit more is The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry by Rachel Joyce. So this book I'm about halfway through, and we follow a man whose name is Harold, who lives with his wife. I think her name is Maureen. They live in this village in England, and life is kind of a series of habits. They're doing fine financially. He had a good job, and I believe he's retired now, and they've been together many, many years, and she's not always the most pleasant person to be around. She's very opinionated and kind of bullies him a bit. One day, Harold receives a letter in the mail from an old acquaintance, an old friend of his named Queenie, and he hasn't seen Queenie in about 20 years, but they used to work together. The letter is pretty much a farewell to Harold. Queenie has been diagnosed with cancer. It's not looking good. She's just kind of letting him know, saying her goodbyes. And Harold writes out a letter of condolence, but it's very impersonal. It's very short. It's kind of awkward. He doesn't know what to say. He goes out to his mailbox to mail it, but he keeps walking, and he's like, I'll mail it at my neighbor's, because he's got to think like, do I need to resend it? Should I say something more? And he gets to his neighbor's mailbox, but he keeps walking, and he gets to this garage. He ends up talking to one of the employees there, and she tells Harold a story about her aunt who had cancer and how she really thinks the power of belief is stronger than medicine, and how if more people believed that they would get better, then that would actually cure him. And this is a very interesting concept to him. And he gets this idea in his head that if he keeps walking and delivers this letter to Queenie in person, then she won't die. His belief, his action, his willingness to walk, it's like 500 miles, is going to keep her living. So he sets off on this journey, and he's not very young anymore. So he's getting really sore and hungry, and he's sweaty, and he's starting to stink, and his legs starting to hurt him. And he comes across kind of a variety of characters, and everyone is very nosy and very interested in what he's doing. And he tells them stories and they tell him stories. And he takes this time to reflect on how he's come to this point in his life. It's pretty good so far. It's not like, oh, this is amazing, I have to keep reading it. But I do want to know what happens still. The writing is completely fine. I like the characters. I want to see what happens. We learn more about his past, him and his wife raising his son, that, you know, nowadays they don't have the closest relationship. We learn about his friendship with Queenie and the struggles that she faced at their job with their boss, who wasn't crazy about women or treated women a very specific way. And she was one of the only women, so a lot of the men in the office did too. And her and Harold really became friends. So yeah, I'm liking it. It's good. This is way more heartwarming than this. I don't know where this went wrong, but for me, it did. I still have to finish these. So Once Upon a River, this is the longest one I have. And then I've got, that much more of this one. So I think I'm going to physically take this with me tomorrow and read that at the airport. And then I do have this also available as an audiobook. So, but you know what? When I get back, I'm still gonna have like 3 days to the end of the month. So I can finish this in 3 days. Thank you guys for joining me. Please enjoy my beautiful treat. No, November is not too early to enjoy it. And I'll see you guys in a few days. Happy Thanksgiving. Eat lots of turkey if you celebrate Thanksgiving. I hope you have good times with family and friends, good food, good conversation. I will see you guys after Thanksgiving. Welcome back, everybody. It is now post-Thanksgiving, which is absolutely crazy to say. This year just flown by, as does every year. I just got back in from New Mexico yesterday, and instead of making progress on the books that I still have this month, like I planned to, I didn't read them at all. Instead, I so wisely decided to read one of my December book club picks. Don't ask me why. It arrived right before I left. I started reading it. I just got kind of hooked and I decided to bring that one along, which is this book. Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. I've read several of his fiction novels. Usually they're like YA. But this is the first nonfiction I've read by him. I think he's only written 2. This just is about tuberculosis, its history, how it affects so many things from fashion to politics to medicine to wars. It was really fascinating and really heartbreaking as well. A lot of this book focuses on how tuberculosis is pretty much curable in like 99% of cases and how we have the medicine for it, but the medicine isn't going to where the sickness is. So many of these poor countries, so many people are still dying from this disease, and it's not something we hear about a ton as far as like in the US. Very interesting. It was very easy to read, easy to get into. It was a very kind of broad, sweeping scope of tuberculosis. I did kind of wish that it would go more in depth into certain areas of it, but I think he just really wanted to give kind of a general approach and hit a lot of different talking points rather than kind of dig deep into any specific one. One of the lines that I highlighted, "Nothing is so privileged as thinking history belongs to the past." And that's pretty much my thinking of tuberculosis before I read this book. Is I very much thought that this was kind of like an old-timey sickness, an old-timey disease that didn't really affect all that many people nowadays, but it definitely does. He goes over how so many poor countries, thousands and millions of people die every year from this. Definitely opened my eyes to a lot of suffering, current suffering in the world that goes on because of this disease. Is really interesting. I learned a lot. Highly recommend it. Back to my November plans. I have not started Once Upon a River. Have not finished First We Make the Beast Beautiful. Have not finished Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. And I only have like 3 more days to get through these, so I'm going to be like booking it. This one, I think I'm going to be able to finish today. It's snowing outside. It's really pretty. We're supposed to get like 7 or 8 inches. I'm going to go on a walk. I'm going to try and get this finished today, and then tomorrow I have to finish at least 1 more. Yeah, I have to, because the beginning of the month I did so well and I started really slacking off near the end, but I still have a few more days. I'm going to attempt to get through all of them, and fingers crossed, we're going to see what happens. It is time to end my November reads because I have run out of time. I did not finish the books that I was planning on, so 2 of them, these 2, I will be continuing in December, which is tomorrow, so I don't have long to wait. However, I did finish The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry. This I loved a lot. I really like this. This was really cute. I gave this 4 stars. It was very touching. I think previously I had kind of detailed the general story. It's about a man who goes on like a 600-mile walk to see his dying friend in the hopes that him walking will prevent her from dying. And it's kind of like that part in Forrest Gump where he's just kind of running and then all these people start joining him, and soon enough there's like a huge crowd. I did really enjoy that it also details, obviously, like this journey, going on this journey, he's going to take a lot of this time to ruminate and reflect on his life and his past and the mistakes that he's made and a lot of the losses he's been through. Very dysfunctional family life as a child, and kind of some tragedies that carried over into adulthood. So it focuses on him, but it also gives ample space for his wife, who's introduced early in the book as kind of this kind of grumpy, uptight, cold woman, and she goes through her own transformation. And it's very sweet. It's this like coming together, this realization of this married couple who's been together for like decades and have so become entrenched in this is just the way things are, that they don't really stop and think, how can things get better? They just fall into these habits. I highly recommend this. This was a great book to end November in. It was very cozy in kind of a specific, odd way that I don't think of. When I typically think of cozy books, I wouldn't think of this, but it does give kind of that general feeling. So tomorrow, I'm so disappointed that I did not finish this because, it's driving me crazy. But December, and then I'm going to pick out probably 6 or 7 more books in addition to these 2, because this is the final stretch, people. And it's okay, but I have not hit near as many books, physical books, as I thought I would this year. But it's okay. I've done a lot of reading. I've gotten through some good books. I've gotten through some bad books. But I will see you guys in December. I'll see you guys for the final month of the year. Bye.